All right, let's talk about something we see everywhere online, belly fat. It's a huge topic on social media, but today we're going to cut through all that noise and get into the actual science. We're going to look at what the research really says about the link between stress, your diet, and yeah, that stubborn fat right around your middle. So let's get right into it.
So I'm sure you've heard this one, right? Cortisol belly. It's all over TikTok, Instagram, you name it. And it gets thrown around a lot, usually with some kind of quick fix promise that, let's be honest, sounds way too good to be true. It's a catchy name for sure, and it taps into a real frustration. But is it actually a real medical thing? Well, here's the thing. Cortisol belly isn't an official medical diagnosis. What doctors and scientists are actually talking about is visceral fat. Now, this isn't the fat you can pinch. This is the hidden fat, the stuff that's stored deep inside your abdomen, literally wrapped around your organs, like your liver and intestines. And that's why it's a real health concern. It's linked to a much higher risk for things like heart disease and type 2 diabetes. Okay, but just because the term isn't from a textbook, it doesn't mean the whole idea is junk. Not at all. There is an absolutely real, science-backed connection between stress and how our bodies store fat. So, how does this actually work? Let's break it down. You can think of it like a domino effect. When you're under chronic, long-term stress, your body is basically stuck in fight or flight mode. This leads to your cortisol levels being just constantly high. And high cortisol creates a kind of a double whammy for your midsection. First, it cranks up your appetite, especially for those sugary, high-fat comfort foods. And second, it directly signals your body to store more fat. And the key word here is specific. This is what's so fascinating. This isn't just random weight gain that shows up anywhere. Research shows that cortisol has a special preference. It literally tells your body to store fat right around your vital organs in your abdomen. It's like a bullseye. And that's exactly why stress can hit your waistline so hard. All right, so we've established that stress is a big part of the problem. So what can we actually do about it? Well, a huge part of the solution is in what you eat. And we're going to start with a real powerhouse, fiber. Now, first thing to know, not all fiber is the same. The one we're really focusing on here is soluble fiber. While insoluble fiber is great, it mostly just acts as a bulking agent. But soluble fiber, it does something really cool. It absorbs water and turns into this gel-like substance in your gut. This gel does two amazing things. It slows everything down so you feel full longer, and it's basically a superfood for all the good bacteria living in your gut. Okay, check this out. 10 grams, I know it doesn't sound like much, right? But stick with me here, because in the world of nutrition, this small number can have a huge impact. So what's so special about 10 grams? Get this. One big study found that for every 10-gram increase in soluble fiber people ate per day, they had a 3.7% lower risk of gaining that dangerous visceral fat over a 5-year period. That's a real measurable difference. From simple stuff, like having some oatmeal for breakfast or adding flax seeds, beans, or Brussels sprouts to your meals. So what's the magic behind this? Well, it's all about your gut. Your good gut bacteria basically feast on that soluble fiber. And as they break it down, they produce these amazing things called short-chain fatty acids. Now, these little guys are rock stars. Some studies suggest they may actually help your body burn more fat. Plus, they help manage your hunger hormones, so you just naturally feel more satisfied. Pretty cool, right? Okay, so fiber is clearly a secret weapon, but it has a partner in crime. Let's talk about the next piece of the puzzle, protein. Protein is absolutely crucial, especially when you're trying to lose fat, because it's like a bodyguard for your metabolism. There's a big challenge when it comes to losing weight. When you cut calories, your body needs energy. And sure, it'll burn fat, which is great, but it can also start burning your hard-earned muscle for fuel. And that is a huge problem, because your muscle is what keeps your metabolism fired up, burning calories 24/7. Lose that muscle, and your whole fat loss journey gets way, way harder. But here's where protein comes to the rescue. Look at this study. They put resistance-trained guys in a calorie deficit. The group that ate a high-protein diet, they barely lost any muscle at all, just 0.3 kilograms. But the low-protein group, whoa, they lost 1.6 kilograms of muscle. That is more than 5 times as much. This just shows how powerful protein is for making sure you're losing fat, not muscle. So you're probably wondering, okay, how much do I actually need?
Well, the research gives us some pretty solid targets. For people at a healthy weight trying to lose fat, the goal is somewhere between 1.6 and 2.4 grams of protein for every kilogram of body weight. And if you're starting from a place of being overweight or obese, a slightly lower range of 1.2 to 1.6 grams per kilogram is also super effective. So you can really tailor it to where you're at right now. Okay, so we've talked about stress and cortisol. We've talked about the power of soluble fiber, and we've talked about why protein is so important for your metabolism. Now for the big question. How do we tie this all together into a real-world action plan? Let's do it. The key takeaway here is that there's no single magic bullet. It's about looking at the whole system. First, you got to manage the stress. That means things like yoga, meditation, or just making sure you get enough sleep. That's huge for controlling cortisol. Then, you nail your nutrition. Nutrient-rich foods, prioritizing that soluble fiber, and making sure you hit your protein target. And finally, you add in smart exercise. Things like HIIT and cardio are amazing for targeting that visceral fat. See? It all works together, one piece supporting the other.
So I want to leave you with this thought. Your body is this incredibly complex system. And everything you do, every meal you eat, how you move, every hour of sleep you get, it's all a signal. You're constantly sending your body messages. And those messages determine everything, from your hormones to where your body decides to store fat. So the real question is, what signals are you sending?